ホモが本書現状業主人本人主の名も妙法蓮華経の妙法蓮華経の法蓮 として松座に越ししゃ 地面の間にもただに限る本上者門日蓮五千大時代二代四放射な無明With respect and veneration before the great Dharma Namyo Holy Nikyo, the quintessence prayers transmitted by Jogyo Bosatsu. We praise the Shakyamuni Buddha, the primordial enlightened one. We pray inversely for the superb compassion to Grandmaster Nichiren Dai Bosatsu. Reincarnation of Jogyo Bosatsu in the Makoya. Grandmaster Nichiren Dai Shonin, Nichiren Shonin, posterior body and the restructure of the Homonline Permopet of the Lotus Sutra, and the Grandmaster Nissen Shonin, founder of Homo Mochirishu, Daiji Dai Hidayon Hoshi. We offer deep gratitude to the second Koyunichi Mon Shonin, third Koyunichi Zui Shonin, fourth Koyunichi Kyo Shonin, the first master of Myoshi Temple Nippak Shonin, second master Nisso Shonin, and to all the masters who own Shadow. We pray that all beings within the sky and the four seas returns to the Myoho primordial state, and that in this age of the 5,500 years of the Buddha returns to the original state. The expansion of primordial Buddhism Homo Buddhism should take place incessantly. Namo Myoho in front of the Gohon's home with respect and veneration, we pray for the expansion of Homo Buddhism, for world peace, and for the sound health of our May we progress in our faith and in our practice. May we be capable of accomplishing our such works. Out of the works, may we experience the benefits and become a vehicle of providing. May this work behold the Gohon's on the Odaimo, and this secret teachings be united in mind, although separate in one. We pray for the preservation of the environment, for the solidarity of the beings, and for the realization of one conversion by faithful propagation minded in Nepal and around the world. We pray for the great progress in Buddhist education and studies. We pray for the encouragement of the religious heritage. And especially HBS Nepal would like to pray for safety and successful goal in Brazil for all the group products from Japan. We would like to pray for successful and safety goal in Japan for Japan Suba Kano Kyo. We would like to pray for fast and easy health recovery for Kadaka Seiji Shadimaya Tamangina Nakumari Guru. Utam Tamangan because Tapa Kano Dokyo. We pray that Namyo Horenekyo, cause essence in the seed of enlightenment, contain the first 8 chapters of the primordial path of the Lotus Sutra, transmitted by the Jogyo Bosatsu. in front of the home zone with respect and veneration. We pray for the progress and expansion of the group of faithful establishing. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith and hopeless elimination of the karma and the prosperity of all participants in the nations. We pray for the fastest eradication of the coronavirus to all those who are remained affected. We pray for the progress of the mystic relationship with the Buddha and the meeting with the true secret Dharma, the elimination of the negative karma, full health, and the protection of all mortal Buddhism. That everyone realizes to go in accordance with the Buddhist intention. We pray for the recovery of all the sick and for the fulfillment of all the prayers of all participants in today's session. Now we are holding the evening study session in front of the Gohon Zone at HBS Nepal, Kathmandu. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith and hopeless elimination of the negative karma and the prosperity of all participants in today's studies. May those who are suffering from illness have their sickness cured immediately, and may those who are praying for overcoming sufferings and the troubles have the protection and the blessing of the Gohon. And especially from the Gohon Zone, Bikramuru. We would like to pray for fast and easy health recovery of Manju Tapamagar. Jivan Suba would like to pray for fruitful and successful work in Japan. And we would like to pray for success with the business for Mohan Kumar Limbendu Tarlimbu we would like to pray for the fulfillment of the confidential wish. With respect and veneration for prayers to all the late masters and the monks, faithful and their relatives of the home materials. With respect and veneration for prayers to all souls who have died in disasters, epidemics, and the armed conflicts around the world, especially to all those deceased in the Nepal earthquake, and they all those deceased by the new coronavirus. We offer prayers to all souls, inscribed in the posthumous purple book of the Myoshini Temple, HBS Nepal Center, and to deceased ancestors of all participants in today's study session, and they all to deceased today, and especially for Obarakira, Myoho Kyoriki, for all the participants and peoples doing Hoku today. We pray one by one for the elimination of the bad karmas and the great progress in the faith. Front of the Golden Zone with respect and veneration. We pray for the progress and expansion of the group of faithful established in Nepal. We pray for health and devotion to the practice of faith and focus, elimination of the negative karma and the prosperity of all participants in today's studies. We pray for the fast eradication of the coronavirus to all those who are infirm and affected. We pray for the progress of the mystic relationship with the Buddha and the meeting with the true secret Dharma, the elimination of the negative karma, full health, and the protection of all of primordial Buddhism. That everyone realizes to go in accordance with the Buddhist intention. We pray for the recovery of all the sick and for the fulfillment of all the prayers of all participants in today's study session. With respect and veneration of our prayers to all the late masters and the monks, faithful and their relatives of the Homo Butcheries. With respect and veneration of our prayers to all souls who have died in disasters, epidemics, and the armed conflicts around the world, especially to all those deceased in the Nepal earthquake and the all those deceased by the new coronavirus. We offer prayers to all souls inscribed in the posthumous purple book of the Myoshini Temple, HBS Nepal Center, and the deceased ancestors of all participants in today's study session, and the all the deceased today, and especially for Obarakira, Myoho Kyoriki, for all the participants and people doing Goku today. We pray one by one for the elimination of the bad karmas and the great progress in the field of the Gosei Shakabagodoje, Doje Han, Nyokokuja, Isai Shoge, Shoyo, Piggy Guys, the silence. Yobo Kujurita Anundo, Kidoja, Hongo Hapoi Shogin Jojo, Shodei Honin, Yeshuno, Namyo. Shiraye Hobo Zai Sho Sho Metsu Onjin Yori Bushim Ni Taramad Tamochita Sematsuru Homo no Hondo Homo no Kaidan Onmonjigyo Hapon Shoken Jogyo Shoden Honin Yeshun Onmyo Horendeko Namyo Horendeko Namyo Most. Thank you for your participation here in the evaluation session Kathmandu Center. Thank the people who watch us online this evaluation session. Friday, normally the people go to enjoy, you know. But this we recommend that everyone come to chant, especially on Saturday, bully. Escutei não, né? Vida. Many people don't have work, don't have school, so try to use this chance once in the week to come to participate in the morning chant and in the evening chant. Especially on Saturday from tomorrow, we started the go home speech, no? Guruko speech. We will use all the Gokyoka. Here in the Kathmandu Center, we use the screen. In Shanti Dharma Stupa, Seijish, we will do this in the whiteboard too. So let's use this chance to learn. Before we used to do every day, but we try to do at least one Saturday with everyone together in the center in the stupa to study together. No? I recommend, especially watch from Facebook. Seijish can speak everything in Nepal, you know. The people watch from the YouTube need to learn English. The people watch from Facebook can see from the face Nepali. Everyone who participates, let's not forget, write arigatou gozaimasu, the place where you are, arigatou gozaimasu, talk, arigatou gozaimasu, Shanti Dharma Stupa. More we promote, more will be the support. This is one kind of gohoko. My friend, please watch the live streams 5 o'clock, every day. This is one kind of goal. There's many ways we can propagate more the chanting. And now we have in English, in Shiharas, Sri Lanka language, Portuguese, Japanese. Only one what we can't translate is the Odaimon. And receive the bless. So let's focus on Saturday. Of course, learn maximum possible.